All right, try talking now and let's see.
Okay, we've done a reload here. How are we through now? How are we coming through now? Last night we got kicked off. The screen went to black, and it was unfortunate because I was on a pretty good subject.
That says you're on.
We're on? Okay, got it. Good. Right on. Good. Excellent, because I have a great subject tonight. I'm going to try and do this real quick. Okay, since Joe has come on and is working with us, Nomadic Media, he's opened up a lot of things that I did not see about what we are doing. And we're working as a group here. I mean, we have a nice group of people that comes every night. And the thing about our group, yeah, I'm working on my handlebar mustache, right? The thing that's nice about working in a group like this, in a small group, is it's almost like we're commandos. You know, we can affect the outcome of things. And it's not just a huge group of people that all, watch it recreationally, but never do anything. We've got people on this who are interfacing offline, and there's been a lot of it, and that's really good. When we did our Tribe Day meetup last year, we had 85 people that came. That is really good. That's really good, and that's not really like I can take credit for that. It's the type of people that are gravitating towards this, right? And our associate farms, it's informal. I have never sat people down and said, would you like to be an associate farm? But there are our associates, and they are farms. A lot of them are new farms, and they are building their process up. And I think that's great. If they were to ask me, what do you think I should do? I'd say, do that. Do what you're doing. That's a good thing. And so what I'd like to do is step into the time machine today. All right. And let's go forward 1 year. So going into the time machine, I'm going to have to take in there what I know. And then there's going to be things that I don't know. There's going to be things people have said to me that could come to fruition, but they also could not, And so as we step into the time machine, 1 year from now, our reach on the Anyone Can Farm, which we had to change. We had to go from the Baker's Green Acres to the Anyone Can Farm experience. And we knew we were taking a huge hit because we had 10,000 subs, but they never came anymore. That was from when we went through our struggle with the state. People want to tune in and they wanted to hear the blood and guts of fighting with the state. Great, but we're not doing that anymore. As a matter of fact, we avoid that. We're playing on a completely different field, and our focus now is the new America that's coming, right? It's the decentralized America that's coming. So around here, you have massive farms. They don't really even look like farms. They just look like an industrial area. They're gross. They stink bad. But they are somewhat centrally controlled, right? And they're losing their butts. So is that going to be part of the new America? I don't know. I kind of think no. I kind of think no, because how are they tied together? They're tied together with money. Right? Whose money? That's a good question. That's a good question. But our associate farms are held together by camaraderie. We like each other. We like this process. We like to get together and have our kids play together and eat together and have fun, right? That's what holds us together. So those are stronger bonds, and that is really what built this country. Not the bankers. The bankers didn't. They're just parasites that are figuring way to get something for no work. And none of us really want that. We don't want to get something that we didn't come by respectively. Honestly, you go to work and you get paid. That's good. That's how we don't take any of this with us. So if the process is honorable while we're here, that's great. I don't have to be buried in a gold vault. Concrete's fine. Or better yet, turn me into biochar. That would probably be a better idea, and feed me to the animals. But my point here, and this isn't the topic, this is just something I want to touch on from time to time, because all of a sudden I've realized, whoa, it's time to pull the trigger. It's time to pull the trigger. So our associate farms, and if you think you're one of our associates, then you are, right? And you're running an operation, and you come here to get ideas and give ideas and be inspired and motivated and all that stuff. Good. A time is coming, I think. Hello, Inga. Hello, Justin. And the ghost. A time is coming, I believe, where we, Jill and I, will jump in our miniature school bus, our short bus, the window licker, we're going to call it. And we'll go down to Dundee. And we will tell you before we go on a Thursday, let's say, hey, we're heading down to Dundee, Michigan, and we're going to showcase this guy by the name of Justin Z. And we're going to let him walk us around the farm and show us what he's done. And then we'll sit down and say, Justin, why are you doing this? And there'll be a nice little, maybe half-hour video that will showcase Justin's farm, right? And I think that then that will go on the Anyone Can Farm experience. That's not my farm experience. That's Justin's farm experience. Would you be interested in seeing that? Right? I already know the answer. A lot of people say, yeah, I'd like to see what that guy's doing. That guy's an individual. That guy is I've never met anybody like that guy. And I've been around. I've never met anybody like that guy, right? Likewise, the Declare Homestead, they are unique people, very unique people. And it just so happens we're going the same direction. I'd say they're an associate farm. So that's definitely on the list of, hey, we're going there and we want to showcase this. If they want us. If they don't want us, if they don't want to, have their face go on the internet and stuff, and they don't, then fine, that's cool. People have their own thing. I'm not saying you have to do this to be an associate. If you wanted to, we could. Now, we're gaining the content, right, for the Anyone Can Farm tribe. The more content you have on there, right, and that's what Joe is doing right now. He is adding content, right, with these nifty videos that he does that are educational, fun, and inspiring, empowering, all that stuff. And as that content builds on there, then people's attention go there and they say, hey, I'm kind of into this too. I want to see this. Okay, that's good. It's building. Every day we get more people, more subs to it, more attention to it. The trajectory that we're on right now, according to the expert, it's not me, it's Joe, is good, right? It is good. It's not great, but I kind of like good better because we can maintain good for a long time. We can do good for a long time. On this end, everybody's fed, everybody's bills are paid, no one's killing it, but we are getting the mission done. We are getting it done. And so I'm very satisfied with the direction that are going. I make gains every day on this farm. And when I make a gain, that's good. They may not be monetary gains, but I think we know by now that's not the be all and the end all. That's part of it. But if we just focus on money, well, then our score sheet in some people's eyes would be, it's not so good, right? These guys they may have assets, but they don't have any money in the bank. Well, yeah, but I have a nice farm and I have a place where I can go for a walk barefoot with my wife and put my toes in the pond, or the skies. I can take a picnic lunch out there, and I can, on my own place, I can have a campfire. I can have people over. I can, this farm generates food. I ate really good tonight. Not a lot. I didn't eat a lot, but I ate really good. And in my opinion, I'm a very wealthy individual. I really like my life, and I don't know as I would have been telling you that when I was humping the flight line, honestly, for the Air Force. Oh man, I really love my life. I came home a lot of days saying, what am I doing? Why do I do this? But luckily there was an end in sight, 20 years, and then you get a retirement. I never really thought of it that much, actually. I knew that you didn't get paid enough to make a house payment, but it was, at least you were done. At least you didn't have to go on impromptu trips that I had no say in. Anyway, this is all working into the new America model that we're heading towards, right? The decentralized food, decentralized medicine, decentralized schools, all that stuff. It's either going to be decentralized or it's going to be totally centralized. And I won't be talking to you anymore if that happens. But I don't really think that's going to happen. I really don't. I've got a feeling of optimism in my stomach, and I just don't think evil's going to prevail. Like, they've got us to this point, but people have they've woken up, right? I made a video yesterday about biochar, and I said, yeah, you guys never heard of this. Wonder why. People know at this point why we haven't heard of it. A lot of good information has been kept from us, or maybe they don't keep it from us, but they have a megaphone going saying, you need Scott's 3, 2, 1, much louder than we can, where we but people now are just saying there's got to be a better way to do things. And I think we're going that direction. Anyway, here's how we game this thing. Here's how we game this. When the time comes for me and Jill to pack up the schoolie and head down to Dundee, I would like our footprint to be big. Why? Why a big footprint? Why do I want that? When I tell you guys I'm really happy with the small footprint that we have, because we have a cadre right here of trigger pullers, doers. I don't necessarily mean a gun. I just mean a trigger on something, but you guys will pull it, right? We see people, and that's the nice thing about the Anyone Can Farm tribe on Facebook, is people posting the stuff that they do. So we get to see that. And when you see someone actually do something, it's like, hey, I like that. I can do that. I want to do that. All right. So we have trigger pullers. We have a small cadre of trigger pullers right here. Right. And you may think, well, how can I increase my footprint? De Klerk might be saying, well, I want to get my website going. How do I do that? So people can find me, because ultimately you want to be working from home. You want to keep your husband home, hopefully, and thrive on your farm. That would be nice. That would be really nice. That's the direction that you want to go. So if we get in the time machine 1 year from now, let's say a year, and Jill and I are heading down to Clark's, We're going to park next to the barn in the schoolie. We're going to take a tour of the farm. We're going to sit down and do an interview, and we may do a few drone shots and all this stuff. And then that content goes on the Anyone Can Farm tribe, but it also goes on the DeClercq homepage, right? See? Now, how do we bolster that reach now? How do we do that now, right? It's easy. I'm going to ask you to do something. And it's really easy. Doesn't cost you anything. Yeah, you could send us some dollars for the classroom, but that's not really going to really get this wave rolling like it could this way. What you do is you promote the Anyone Can Farm experience. You promote it as much as you possibly can, any way that you can. Share every video, any way that you can promote this, any way that is available. I don't have to go through them. I don't really know them. You know, I can share a video. I know that. And I can log on to Facebook. I know how to do that. But a lot of you are a lot smarter about this than me. But probably not as smart as Joe, because he's pretty good at it. Maybe Justin. I don't know. Justin's pretty smart about a lot of stuff. But the more you can promote our group, and I mean you, me, Jill, Caleb, and the horses, our group, the Anyone Can Farm experience, the more that can be promoted. We need 10,000 subs. We have 1,300, but 10,000 is, you know, we only launched it 2 months ago, right? January, February, March, 2 months, right? So I need your help right now. And when you help me, you're helping you. Some of you on here are not farms, but you may become farms. You may. When things change, and we don't know all the changes that are coming. I hear them, bits and pieces here and there. It's hard to know. You just don't know until it happens. Lone Star, making fun of my makeup. I'm trying to get me a good handlebar mustache going, you know. And that's another one I want to visit. I want to visit Lone Star out there in the great state of Texas in my schoolie. We were close last year. We were within 8 hours, but it was kind of a bridge too far at the time. But my point is, if you do this now and really cement it in your mind, okay, this is important to make this happen. I'm going to do this. That will result in changes of the way we are doing things. It really will. You know, this right here, the classroom, you know, we've got that handled. We really do. We're able to, I mean, I can always, all the money on the merch that comes in is going towards the classroom. It is. All the super chats, all that stuff goes through to the classroom. But we've got that handled. But I really think that a decentralized agricultural system, it's not like this is going to be trendy and fun. This is going to be a necessity. If industrial agriculture starts to, well, it already has. It's slipping right now. I mean, around here, we've got farms that have been in business forever, you know, and now they're done this year, you know, and several more that are, and they're all being consolidated on these mega farms. But those mega farms are not making any money. The only reason that they exist is because there's this huge flow of money that goes past. We really don't know whose money it is. It's not like gold. It's just zeros on a computer, I think. And is it going to sustain itself? I don't know. It doesn't look like they're setting it up to be sustainable. I mean, they don't build into the community. They don't foster um, workers from here. So I just don't think that it's going to be sustainable. Nobody wants to work at those farms. They have to bring people up from south of the border. So anyway, uh, please help. Please help if you can. You know, like, share, thumbs ups without being asked, all that stuff. You know where we will be 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. We don't know. But hey, victory is, we want victory. We want to do the best job that we can. Well done, my good and faithful servant. That's what we're after here. So if you're on the same page, same mission, help. And it doesn't take much. Okay, on to the topic. Now, this topic is as important as what I just told you. Like, this information, you hear what I'm saying. This information is been kept from you. It really has. Not that, let's see, not that they go through the internet and they scour this stuff. It's just that they put so much propaganda out that you overlook this as being a good thing. So Engel asked last night, what crops can you grow for livestock? Right? And, you know, here I am on an 80-acre farm, and people would say, well, what do you mean? You grow crops for livestock? Well, yeah. I mean, that's what cutting hay is all about, because the hay gets stored in the barn. You know, we cut it, dry it, do all that, store it in the barn, feed it to the cows. Cows give us milk. We sell the milk. That's the conversion to dollars, right? We need a certain amount of dollars to meet our obligations, financial obligations, right? So, what about other animals? What about other animals? All right. I did a quick search, you know, as I was preparing this today. And I mean, when I prepare this, I'm talking 15 minutes while I'm waiting for dinner to come on. So I don't want to downplay it too much. This is just information that, you know, I've been doing this a while, and it, especially with this format, um, I can draw on information that I know having done this. And this is startling what I come up with. All right. So I did a little search. I haven't bought hog feed, oof, 15 years. I haven't bought hog feed, right? When I found out what was in hog chow, that's when I said, oh, I don't want that. Plus the horrible smell from hog chow. What stinks in hog chow is the crude protein that's in it, if you read the tag. And what that is, you know, here in the United States, I mean, it's taboo to feed cows to cows, right? Because mad cow disease, right? But feeding hogs to hogs, nah, no big deal. No, not a problem. It's really dumb. You know, feeding chickens to chickens, nah, not a problem. Not a problem. Happens in the environment all the time, right? Right. Does anybody think there's a potential for a problem? Oh yeah. But anyway, I just picked a feed producer, Purina, and I went in and I said Purina Hog Chow, or finisher, right? That's what they call it. They have all their little terms. They have starter, grower, finisher, and all that stuff, because they want you to buy several different types. And boy, that starter, that's the expensive stuff. But when you have baby pigs, you got to buy that expensive stuff, and your heart will override your head, because, oh, they're so cute. They're so cute. But then it gets rough when you're doing the growing, because, and this is what I'm going to tell you, Purina grower, do your own search on it. I found $22.49. And that's if I bought a skid and then had it delivered someplace, and I went and picked it up. It's a skid I have to buy. Skid prices for a 50-pound bag. That's a 50 weight, $22.49. Okay, so we're going to have to do a little bit of math here. And this is just going to give us a little bit of perspective on why this topic, what crops can you grow for your livestock, is an important topic, you know, these days, right? These days. Actually, it always was, right? It always was. So let's just clear this up a little bit. These massive hog houses that you see, that when you drive past them, you can smell them with the windows up. Do you think for a second that they are paying $22.49 per 50 pounds for hog chow? Do you think so? Do you think so? If you think yes, you're wrong. You're dead wrong. They don't pay anywhere near that. Now, I don't have the figures, and the price that one of these hog barns would pay for feed would be between them and whoever produces their feed. And it's not necessarily any of your friggin' business, right? So you're not going to find that on any. You're not going to find it. It's not none of your damn business how much profit they make. Mark, are you saying that they're selling hog chow by the 50 weight to homesteaders for far more than they sell it to these? Yeah, I am saying that. I am absolutely saying that. Now, what does that produce? What's the end result of that? All right. Well, I'm going to go through the end result of that. All right. So a bag of Purina grower was $22.49. Let's just say that your average pig is going to eat between 5 and 7 pounds of feed per day when they're growing out, and you're just feeding them out. Okay. So to finish a pig, and this was right in the same neighborhood. Of course, our philosophy on finishing a pig is different. Like, if we need a pig and they're 300 pounds, we slaughter them. If we need them and they're 150 pounds, we slaughter them. You know, it's like we're homesteaders. We're doing this for the food. But in the industry, right, and Purina is definitely part of the industry because they use all these terms like grower, finisher, starter, all that stuff, the same as the industry uses. And Purina definitely makes a different grade of feed for the hog houses. They're saying that a pig finishes out at 280 pounds. 280 pounds. Right now, you're going to find other numbers out there, but they're going to be right in that neighborhood. And why do they say 280? Well, 280 is where the feed to rate of gain coefficient drops off for this feed. This feed. I don't feed this. So my numbers are completely different. And I'm going to go into that. But by these numbers,
All right, maybe that'll work.
Okay, how is it now? We just did a reboot. Read lips, loose lips. I'm wondering why you changed your all fixed. Okay, all right, let's try this. We have bad weather out tonight, and that's why this is probably happening. I don't think there's entities that cut us off whenever we get into the juicy stuff, but this is all stuff you can figure out on your own. But I was just about to do a little bit of math here. According to their numbers, we need between 700 and 900 pounds of feed to finish out a pig. 280 pounds. I think that's kind of small, actually. I like them bigger than that. But let's just go by their numbers. At 800 pounds of feed, we'll divide it by 50. So that's going to take us 16 bags of feed per pig at $22.49. $359. Okay, plus the price of the pig. We'll allow $100 for the pig. So that's $459. And then let's just add in per pig another $39, let's say, for miscellaneous stuff. So that's going to put us at, and I'm being pretty easy, that's going to put us at $498.84. This is before we've given them anything but feed. All right. Then we're going to have to get that pig processed. Now, I haven't in a long time, but I would say to pig, does anybody know, Keith, anybody know what you pay for a pig to process now? I would say you're paying probably 50 cents a pound hanging weight minimum. And on a 280 pounder, hanging weight is going to be, say, 240 times 50 cents. I'll just real quick. Okay, that's 120. I think that sounds right. Buck a pound. Are you just throwing that? No. All right, let me just say 120. And let me add that to where I was. I'm at 498 plus 120. $618. $618 for a pig. So out of that hanging weight of 240, let's say that you're going to have 175 pounds of useful meat. So we're going to take that number and then divide it by 175. And I'm being pretty easy on this. Not good. Not good. I didn't come out with a good number. Let's see, I was at 6. Okay. 800 pounds. £800. All right. Well, I'm drawing a block, but anyway, I mean, this is like going to the board when I was a kid and having to do math, and then all of a sudden I'd think of an alternate way to do it that seems smarter, but wait a minute, and then I get a roadblock and I'm just vapor locked, right? But that's not my thing. But anyway, you can see that going this route with hog chow or any kind of prepared feed, and you're raising a couple of pigs for the freezer, you know, and when you get to the end of it and the animals are processed, you're like, all right, good enough. You get to the end of the process and you say, hey, wait a minute. Why did I do this? I lost money on this. This is costing me more to do it myself than if I just bought the dumb stuff from the store. And then you'll hear people, yeah, but at least you know what they're eating. Oh, really? You know what's in that Purina feed then? You know that. Okay. Well, you don't. You don't know what's in that. And that's probably the point here. The point of view that we want is let's pull this apart and decide if this makes sense or not. Inga asked us last night what crops should we grow for our livestock. And the reason this is profound is because the dichotomy between this way, the Purina method, and then I'd say the homesteader method, it's like not even in the ballpark, right? And there's a lot of places where we see this, but like 4-H is one of them. If you go to 4-H and you're going to bring your pig there to get it judged and everything, they judge it on how big and muscular it is. And you only get there by feeding this type of feed. Actually, they have additives that they put in that make the things look like Arnold Schwarzenegger pigs. But is that really what we want? And does it make sense morally to do this? Like, if you want to just raise a pig and you don't care if you make money or lose money, then you're in a different class here, because we're homesteaders and we feel as though it's pretty important that every process is going to give us a gain, and not just a little bit, but it's abundant. It is actually quite abundant. That's the environment that we were placed in, that we were given. It's an abundant, we live in abundance. But, you know, there's this other side, the dark side, that is saying, you don't live in abundance. You don't. And they have all kinds of tricks to keep us in austerity all the time. Now we've got this big push by the government to push us into austerity measures. And that $22.49 per 50 weight, I think, is going to be a real good price here in a month or so. That's how they can choke food, is they can choke the feed to the animals. So that's the perspective I wanted to bring out. What crops you can grow for your animals. This isn't like, oh, this would be fun to talk about at a coffee clutch or whatever. This is, you're not going to be able to feed out pigs at that price. I mean, if that goes higher, let's say it goes to $30 a 50 weight, you can't feed a pig out on that. You can't. You'd be better off switching to something else, right? Pigs would be out of the question, I think, at that price. And chickens too, if you stay with commercial feed. But you stay with commercial feed and you're actually working a program, but it's not a program that's designed to benefit you, the homesteader. So we want to talk about a program that's going to benefit you, the homesteader, and the homestead and the community that you're in. That's what we want. And if it doesn't, we might as well be playing golf, you know, that doesn't benefit it. All right, so I wrote down a set of points here. I'll go as long as I need to because this is a very important subject and it seems like we have good internet now. So let's just go. The points I wrote down, first one was, how much land do you need? You know, people always want to know that. They want, like, well, how many pigs can you put per acre? And it's like, well, I can't answer that. I have to look, I have to see what kind of land you're on. If you're on beach sand, it's different than if you're on, say, muck soil. You know, muck soil is like real thick, like pudding. You know, it's very, very fertile stuff, right? So it's hard to say. That's one of those things. You are going to work with what you have. You know, you'll work with what you have. Okay. Next one was, why is this important? This is important from the point of view of how much it costs to feed out a pig if you use commercial feed. Right. That's one point. The other point is we're hearing now about feeds, animal feeds being cost prohibitive here very quickly. To me, $22.49 for a 50 weight, that's cost prohibitive right there. I would never do that. No way would I do that. But some people don't know. A lot of people that come here, you don't know. Like, I'm feeding hogs. What do you feed them? Well, you feed them hog chow, don't you? Well, not if you want to make money, you don't. Because if you do, you're going to be in trouble, or at least don't feed them nothing but hog chow. You're going to want to supplement it with some fillers there, you know. Equipment to grow. I'm just going to go through these topics as I wrote them down, and you guys are going to have a chance to ask me questions at the end. All right. So I'm going to go for a reasonable time. When I get to the end here, we'll do the extra and then go to questions, because we are a little bit behind tonight because of the internet problems. Equipment. I'm going to have to real quickly show you how I do this. And this is important. So I'm going to do it. And luckily I have I don't have it. Technology. It makes our lives so much simpler, doesn't it? So I'm going to have to go to the blackboard. That's okay, because this works every time. And I know that I've shown you this many times before. Oh, rats. Got to have more moisture than just a little spit. Let's see how a little tea works. I've shown this before, but we have new people coming in all the time, so it doesn't hurt to go over it one more time. And then the questions, you know, can reflect some of the information that I'm going to share here. But I'm just going to show you how I do it. And I think this could be scaled up or down any way that you want. You can do this. So I'm going to show you our grow area. And just stay with me. I know a lot of you have seen this. I've got an area that started out as a vegetable garden. And then the guys that were using it no longer wanted to use it. And so we just started putting pigs in there. So it is 300 feet by 100 feet. And then we divided this in thirds like this. Okay, so this is all woven wire, and then there's electric around the inside. All right, pigs can't get out. There's a gate here. There's a gate here. And then there's a gate there. So we have 1, 2, 3. If you do the math on this, 100 by 100, that's 10,000 square feet, right? 10,000 square feet. Okay, so I can put 3 pigs in there, or I can put 30 pigs in there. Let's say right now I have 6, I have 8. That's just what I have left over. That's what I have. At this time of the year, there's nothing in here but dirt. They've taken everything off, and they did that last fall. Okay, so this field right here is in rye, and I planted it last fall, early last fall. And right now, if you look out there, it's green and it's getting ready to take off. As soon as we get a little bit of warmth in the soil, it's going to explode. And I've shown this. It flies. It goes crazy. because there's manure in here, there's urine in here, there's the digging action of the pigs in there, so the soil is aerated. So in a month from now, let's see, could it be a month? It may be sooner than that. It may be April, sometime in April. I will open this gate, and these pigs will come down here. They'll get here. This gate will be closed, but this one will be open. And they'll say, "Ooh, green stuff. Let's go in there." And then I'll have 8 pigs in here, but I'll have 0 pigs in here. Okay, so I'll come in here and I will rough that up a little bit. I don't have to plow it because they've dug it up. So I'll just rough it up a little bit, and then I'll broadcast seed in here. And in here, I will probably put peas. I'll put field peas in here. I'll put field peas in there. You can grow field peas really well early in the season. They do well in cool soils. And then I'll go from there, and I'll go over into here. In here, I'm going to put forage radishes. Okay, so the pigs will be in here. Let's say I put them in here. Let's say I put them in there April 15th. Come May 15th, this is going to be up and doing really well in a month. Maybe at that time, they'll have worn this down to nothing. Maybe, maybe not. The longer I leave them here, the more they'll take off. And I really want them to take it all off, right down to the dirt. And while they're in there, they're going to be manuring it all back and urinating back. I am going to be feeding them in there as well. I mean, they're going to get supplemental feed. I'm going to give them bread, and, you know, we'll be butchering chickens by then, so they'll get heads and feet and all that stuff. But then when I move them in here, they go crazy on the field peas. And to move them, all I have to do is pull this gate and this gate, and then close this gate back up. Then I can go right in here and replant that. And I will probably just replant that in rye, because it reseeds itself a couple ways. All right, but I'll probably just keep it in rye, because I use that for turkeys as well, right? And it's nice to have that rye in there. Then when they go through these field peas, it seems like they go through field peas relatively quick. These forage radishes should be coming up. We should see these great big plumes of tops, and sometimes they have a bulb on them that'll be 1 foot to 2 feet long, and they're nice and juicy, and I go out there and take them myself. They're really good. As soon as they move into here, I get back in here and I replant that in something. It depends what I feel like planting. You know, I can plant corn in there. Corn does really well. It doesn't matter if it makes it all the way, you know. The stalks, pigs will eat that. Now, the thing you want to look at, that you need to know here, why this is such an important subject. This field right here, this rye field, if I took out a square foot right from here, and I pulled everything out, I pulled the grass out, the roots, everything out, shook the dirt out of it in a square foot, take it into the butcher shop, I know what I'm speaking of because I've done it, and weigh that, I'm going to get on the low end 5 pounds per foot of usable, you know, digestible food. Now, calorically, is it going to be the same as this Purina hog chow? No, it isn't. But does that mean it's not good? Does that mean it's not as good? Were these pigs created to have this high energy feed constantly like that from the time that they're born? And they're processing them at 6 months. The things aren't even, they're hardly grown up at 6 months. I mean, that's like the difference between a 6-month-old pig and a 1-year-old pig. It's night and day. It's like the difference between a girl's body and a woman's body, or a boy's body and a man's body. There's just a lot of changes happen in there, right? So they're sending hogs to slaughter at 6.5 months old that are still juveniles, but they're in the money-making business. That's what they're there for. All right, so if I take 1 foot of this out and I get 5 pounds, that's a low end. If I plant this in purple top turnips, I'm going to get 10, 12. I mean, you can get a 10-pound turnip, in that 1 square foot, or there could be 2 of them in that square foot, literally. So you could have 20 pounds per square foot. Field peas are fairly heavy, actually, because they eat everything. Corn is heavy. So if I get 5 pounds per square foot, and I've got 10,000 square feet in each paddock. Okay, let's do this. I've got 100 times 100 equals 10,000 square feet times 5 pounds. £50,000 of anything is a lot. 50,000 pounds of anything. And you may say, yeah, but that's not near the caloric value as hog chow is. It doesn't need to be. What do I have into that rye field? A coffee can full of rye seed. And I bought some here not too long ago. It was $11 for 50 weight. And I bought 2 of them. So I'll take a coffee can out there and I'll spread it with a broadcast spreader, just walking. And then if I want to put down more, I'll put down a little more. It doesn't really matter to me. And that's it. So what does that cost? 1 pound out of 50 pounds. And it cost 10 pounds. Let's see. Okay, so if I buy a 50 weight of rye and it cost me $11. Let's say it cost me $10 and I use 1 pound of it. So that's $1 worth of feed. I don't have a lot involved. A little bit of sweat, I will use my tractor to go out there and smooth it off just so it looks good, because I'm into this, but it doesn't need to look good. It doesn't need to look good. The pigs don't care what it looks like. Like when we grow purple top turnips, which we grow, and I would instruct you on this. I wouldn't say grow them early in the season, grow them late in the season. But sometimes we don't need to put the pigs in on them until they're as big as basketballs. But what happens? Oh, they split. Oh, they'll get worms in them, Do the pigs care? No, they like them better that way with a worm in there. So has this been kept from you? Look at the dichotomy here. Like, I can feed pigs out over the summer on little or nothing. That is 300 by 100. That's small. If I wanted to, I could increase that to 1,000 by 3,000. And then I would be in there with a bigger tractor, seriously plowing it up, and feeding pigs out on that. I could. but I don't choose to do that. That's not what that's not the only thing I do. I want to do some of that, but I want to do some of this and some of this and some of this, or else I wouldn't know, what's available. So some of the crops that I grow are purple top turnips, daikon radishes, which they call them fodder radishes. Depends who you buy them from, but they're kind of the same thing. Mangels, not mangoes, mangels. It's a beet, and they grow like wildfire. It's incredible how they grow. Field peas, rye. That's about it. That's all that I have done. I'm relatively new at this. Some of the things that I want to do is hemp. I want to try hemp. The pigs will eat it. The bushes are massive, and I believe that you could go out there and you could lop off limbs, and they would come down. It would lighten the load on the tree, and the tree would get even bigger. I haven't got any to go yet, but I want to. This is the year that I'm going to start some in the greenhouse. I need Andrew Cross to help me with this, is what I need. I hope somebody brings some hemp seeds to Seed Exchange Day, or maybe Bryce could help me with that, because I planted them directly and they didn't go, right? That's for pigs. What can you grow for cattle? Same thing. You really can. Cattle will eat the same stuff. They will eat turnips. They'll paw them out and they will eat them, believe it or not. Field peas, they will eat the same stuff. So what's the alternative to doing a little bit of planting like that, and utilizing the nutrients that's in the soil to give you a gain on what you're doing? Let's say that you're on 10 acres. You don't have enough there really, or you might not have enough there to support feeding out a steer. But you could bring on hay that you buy from somebody else, and then that's going to add to the fertility of that ground after you've run it through your steers, right? But let's say you've got 4 acres there that you can utilize. Well, beat it up and grow something in there, and those steers can eat that, and that's going to come off of what you have to bring on. You won't have to bring that on. You won't have to bring on as much hay, right? So you might not be able to completely sustain yourself, but you can sweeten up your bottom line by doing some for yourself. It's sort of like being off grid. You don't have to go completely off grid, but if you've got a few solar cells and some batteries going, it's going to bring your power bill down for sure. And when your power bill comes down, hey, we got a little extra money. Let's buy a couple more solar cells. I am actually in the process of doing this right now. I do not want to go with the full array, that the power company will co-sign a loan for to put on, and then by about the time you got it paid off, it starts breaking down. Yeah, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. What we're going to do is we're just going to put up 8 panels and have a system that we can grow into, and I'll just be able to look at my batteries and say, okay, these are full. We can use this to light the house. We don't need commercial power to light the house. We can do it on our own, or we can run, a certain amount of the appliances here. And then when we're not able to, we're not making enough power, then we use commercial power. That's all there is to it. But the power company won't help you with a system like that. They want it all or nothing, and they want it so when you're at max production, whatever you're not using is going to them. So they have all these little power generators all over the place that are producing energy for them. Okay, techniques. That's a technique right there, and that's just a technique. There's as many as you can think of. Let's say you didn't have three. Let's say you had two, and you could go from one to the other. Now, with mine, I can get several rotations per summer, right? The quicker they're in there eating it off, the quicker I move them and get in there and seed something else. To make this system work even better, I added irrigation to it. Works real good, real good. All right, so there's a lot more things that you can do to grow livestock to grow crops for your livestock. Honey Kafina, she was here before. I hope she's still here. But she turned me on to, let's see, where's that book? My desk is a mess. Anyway, tree crops. And last year I planted 50 honey locust trees. So these have been basically overlooked because we don't do that. We do corn and soy. That's what we do. We do corn and soy. We don't want to do any of this stuff. But here's a permanent crop. It's a I get these two mixed up. All right, cool. But here's a tree that's going to be a permanent crop. The average tree, honey locust tree, I know the numbers on this one. There's a few that are better, but the honey locust will drop 80 pounds of bean pods, and you can utilize the entire pod. Cows will eat them off the ground, but you can run them through a hammer mill, and then you can make a feed out of them, and it's a quite nutritious feed. And it's definitely, if you had an acre of honey locust trees and you harvested off of them for your animal feeds, you could put together a feed tank full of feed, or you could just allow your cattle to graze underneath them, and when the pods start falling, they start eating them. Pigs eat them too. We even tried it when Honey was here. She brought some like a shopping bag full, and we took them out and we threw them to the pigs. They chowed down on them. So what I did is I planted the trees that Honey gave me on the fence line, outside of the fence from the pig pens, and calf pen. I planted them outside in the cow dry lot too. I planted them there along the sweep coming up to the house, just outside, so the animals can't get at the young trees, and it'll protect the trunks and all that stuff from the animals. But my thinking is, when the pods fall, now there's two ways you can do it. You can just let them fall, or you can go out there and harvest them. I mean, people do go out and pick them and put them in a sack, and they get stored in the barn and run through a feed mill or fed, saved for winter. People were eating them in the book. People were making muffins out of them. You can, anything that you can make in the house with flour, you can make flour out of these beans, and it's supposed to be pretty good. And I'm really geeked on that. That is something that I need to do a little bit of every year. But I plan to live 200 years, so I'm going to be doing a lot more of these. Okay, Honey's saying, I have mulberry trees, elderberry bushes, and comfrey plants to help feed my ducks. Going to grow more this year. Honey, you know what we could do? We could push Easter weekend back a weekend, so you could come up for the seed swap. Or maybe just come on your own and we'll have a seed swap. We'll have just a like a dinner seed swap. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So I want to finish up here. I got to bring this up too. The effects on the environment. This system right here, every year that this operates, I can actually skim dirt off of that and use it in gardens, because this was basically sand. Around here they call it blow sand. So it was basically sand, and it had about that much dirt on it, and it would grow some hay, but not much. And if we ever had a drought, it was just fragile, and if you drove on it, you'd break through it. It's just like a sand dune. Now the soil out there, good smelling, thick. The pigs, we put daikon radishes, they follow it right down to the tip. So, people say things about pigs like, oh, they're terribly destructive and all that stuff. No, you got to learn how to use what they do to your advantage, as Adam and Eve here in the Garden of Eden, right? How's that going to work for me, right? Now, if let's say they couldn't dig, then I would have to go out there and I'd have to pull all those daikon radishes up. Daikon radishes are notorious for breaking off, 3/4 of the way down. And so, okay, now I've got to, I can't store these things. They're really fragile. No, the pigs are going to do the harvest. They're going to self-harvest them. That's really good. Same thing with cattle. We get so into this hay culture where we are going to have the bestest and the brightest hay equipment, big expense, and then we're going to store hay. I got to build a building to put my hay in so I can feed it to my cows. Instead of just letting the cows go out there, eat it, manure it out there, build the soils out there. Yeah, I'm in northern Michigan. I've got to do some hay. I have to, I think. I don't know what would happen if I didn't. No, right now it'd be just a total mess. I've had rain the last couple of days. I cannot imagine the cows being out on the fields right now. It would be terrible. All right. But I don't have to do the entire program. I don't have to buy into the entire program, because if you buy into this let's say program, in $349. Well, let's say you do 4 of them. I mean, that's money that has to come operate. And that's not even fences or fence chargers, or let's say the odd veterinary visit or anything. You're just talking a lot of money in feed. And people think, well, I got hogs, I got to feed them hog chow. I mean, that's what the guy at the co-op said. And he went to the university. He's making all $14 an hour working there. So he knows more than you, Mark. I've come on here many, many times and told you the evils of hog chow, right? I have told people who have purchased pigs from me, do not buy hog chow. And then, I'll be over at their house. There it is. I don't say anything, but I know that at the co-op or Tractor Supply, those astute folks, they know more than I do about this. And so people take their advice over mine. And you use hog chow, you're looking for trouble. Not just because it's so expensive, because of what's in it. You're looking for trouble. All right. Seasonality. You might get to the point where you say, well, I've got to keep the pigs over winter, right? Or I want to run an operation where I'm going to do, round the year type thing. And you live in an environment where I do, where it's pretty tough winters. At least you can lower your expenses during the summer months, or you can do like what we do with our pastured poultry. We just started this month. and we're going to go with pastured poultry until November, and then it just shuts off. Pack everything up. That's it. We're not doing chickens anymore this year. I mean, we could move into a barn. We could have the lights going. We could have a heater in there. We could have it all decked out and everything. But the problem with that is all of the light expense, the heating expense, the expense of being inside and having to deal with that many beings inside, close, and the fighting and the bickering and all that stuff. We don't deal with that because we just don't do it. Then we switch as full-time farmers. We switch from the effort that we're putting into pastured poultry. We switch it to something else come fall, and then something else come winter, and then something else. So seasonality has to be considered all the time. Okay. That's it. Now I'll take questions, but I'm only going to take them for a short time. Oh, wow, we're an hour and a half. But I will take questions. Maybe you've put them in there. I'll scroll back. If there are no questions, then I'll just assume that you got it. And oh, wow, look at the whole chat came back, even with a reboot. Bryce is saying, do you guys by any chance fig trees? I'm after a apple trees, acorns. Oh yeah, anything that we can eat, they can eat, right? So by all means. All right. Nancy's saying, I had a guy come over to my cabin to give me an estimate. Was 10,000 basic definitely an investment for solar? Boy, we should have a talk on that. It shouldn't be that much. No way. I mean, if you want to run your electric clothes dryer, or if you want to run your electric range, but the idea is do away with those heavy use or those heavy using electrical using appliances, like with your clothes dryer. Just do away with it completely. Just get rid of it. Just make a boat anchor out of it or something, and then get what they call a clothesline. Yeah, they invented them back in the 1800s, and they still work really good. And then for cooking on, go to propane. Or get you a nice Husqvarna chainsaw, and then get a wood cook stove. That's the way to go, and you can cook on that. Honey locust. I am a big honey locust lover. I think anytime I think of honey locust, I think of honey caffina. So, and those trees were approximately 24 inches, and now they're 4 feet, and they've got thorns on them and everything. I hope they're the right ones. We weren't really sure, were we? Yeah, Honey's book that she sent me, it's Tree Crops by Russell Smith. And it is fascinating. I wish I had that when I started, but I didn't think like this. Oh, just lights in a fridge, 10 grand? No way. It's about right now the prices are really coming down on that stuff. So Joe was telling me about $1 a watt, and each one of the panels that he recommended were $100 a panel. So for his yurt, he lives in a yurt. They have 4 of them, and his batteries stay up all the time, and he even runs lights when they don't even need to, just to keep the whole thing going, you know. So he's kind of bleeding off some, I guess. We were over there the other day, and he had lights going, and they didn't need to be on, you know. And nowadays, lights are really efficient. LED lights are really, really efficient. So, yeah, I don't think 10,000, that's a lot. You got to have a controller and an inverter. And the panels, but the panels are very long term and they're pretty solid. Maybe he's wanting to charge you a bunch for putting them up. You've got to be thinking about snow. And so they have to be in snow country, they have to be put up on a standoff. They have to stand off your roof about 4 inches. And what will happen is they'll cover with snow, but then when the sun comes out, those panels will heat up and they'll drop the snow off. But it has to be able to slide under to get off. And then batteries are kind of expensive, and people get confused on batteries, and they think, oh, I have to buy the batteries from the the solar people. No, you don't. No, you don't. You can get deep cycle automotive batteries. They don't even have to be great. They really don't. You know, you can just start, and you can upgrade as you go. And you'll be able to see from your controller how much you have. And then if you are finding out that you aren't making enough, then you're going to have to add on to it. But I would start with 4 and see where you go from there. That'll do lights in a fridge, I'm pretty sure. It's hard to know, though. Like, how big is the fridge? How many bells and whistles does it have? Is it a fridge or a freezer? Is it, a big freezer? Freezers take a little bit more energy than a fridge, I think. Joe is running 12 volts. I tell you what, Nancy, you could talk to Joe. He would actually consult with you. Huh. Honey says, just a note, stay away from black locust trees unless you want a forest. I think it's probably 6 years ago now. We had in this area, there was one of the farmers that was in there was this kind of a hippie chick from Traverse City that used to drive all the way down here to farm a section here. And she was a lot of fun. She's an artist and everything. And when she left one day, there was a tree planted there, and it was just, like this big. It literally was this big. And she just picked the place and planted it. And it's still there. And I actually had to, I actually built around it because now it's this big around at the base, and it's tall, and it's a black locust. Yep. It's got the thorns on it that are about like that long. Yeah, you're not going to be climbing in that tree, but it really grows, really grows. But there is another locust that once you get them in the ground, okay. Well, I don't see any questions here, unless I'm missing them. But doesn't that seem, the dichotomy there, doesn't that seem a little crazy? So on a system like this, I can feed pigs for little or nothing. I mean, very, very little. I can feed them out on what I'm growing, compared to I would have to lay down $500 in feed money over here. So in the days that we're entering in, I think it's a temporary thing because I don't think it's going to be like this forever. But, you know, for a couple of years, we might not be having really good haircuts because things might get tough. This is a way around it, right? You don't have to just say, well, geez, I can't raise pigs because Purina's gone up to $30 a bag. I can't do it. Well, you can, but you got to work around it. And probably once you work around it, do you think you're going back to $30 a bag of feed? Why would you? Why would you? And, you know, the point that I made too, when I said it, it really makes sense. You know, people will kind of justify, you know, you ever know somebody that gets ripped off, they bought a car and they get really shellacked on it. And they'll say, yeah, but it's super dependable. Yeah, but the radio is really good. You know, it's got a great radio on it. Look at this antenna. You know, when you get robbed, you kind of want to make it seem like, yeah, but you know, it's and you pay out $500 per pig in feed, per pig. How can somebody in the business that I'm in make money? How can you do that? You would have to sell those pigs. And see, that's where you get it. That's where you take it in the shorts. You raise out a pig, and then you get it processed. Now you're into that pig, $600, and you've got 175 pounds of meat, and you've got to sell that at, you know, $20 a pound just to make your investment back. And people are like, well, I can get this at the store for about $2.50 a pound. So why would I pay it? Oh, because we know what's in this. I fed them Purina. It's got Purina in it. It's really dumb. That's why people don't homestead, is because they do it and they say, I can't afford to homestead. I can't afford to do this. And all the things that are along the line when you're doing livestock, and I say this all the time, like the processing. Let's say I'm paying a USDA processor $150, and I think it's more than that to get a pig done. It would be interesting if somebody enlightened me. Inga said $1 a pound. Could that be, Inga? You're not just kidding me. Oh, wow. But if it was, well, it's not really far off from 75 cents a pound. And I think that's what it was last time we, could it have been that much? Seems like an awful lot. But even there, like, let you have $11 a pound, 11 cents a pound, and I'm looking for ways to cheapen that. So at 11 cents a pound, that's not bad, man, if you can get it for that, okay? 0.11 times 50. 550 per 50 weight. That's not bad. That's not bad. But if you were supplementing that with turnips and all the other neat stuff that you can grow down there in Greenbow, heck, you could probably, I think Alabama, you could probably go out into the bayou and catch you some alligators, maybe. No, you don't have alligators there, do you? I don't think they do. That's Florida. Well, no, no. Yeah. Okay, you had requested select cuts. Okay, well, I don't know. See, that's where feed used to be. 11 cents a pound. It used to be, that's where it used to be. And it's just not there anymore. Alabama has alligators. All right. Well, there you go. You go out and catch alligators and feed them to your. You could actually have a business called Cats and Rats. A guy in Montana told me about this. It's a self-sustaining business, and you have to start out with like 5 cats and 5 rats. But let's see, how does this work? You feed the rats to the cats. Then you skin the cats and you make gloves out of the cat hides and you feed the cat carcasses to the rats. And the rats reproduce, and then you feed some of the rats to the cats, and so on and so on. And you're always getting, these cat gloves out of the deal. And it just keeps going, So, but you do have to learn how to sew gloves out of cat hides, which doesn't seem like anything you couldn't do. There you go, Inga, right in your own neighborhood. You could have a business, a cats and rats business. There you go. All right, I'm going to get going. I appreciate everybody coming by. I thought that we did some damage to the realm tonight, didn't we? All right, I will see you guys tomorrow night. We're going to be doing open line, and we can talk about your guys' stuff. I am still coveting other topics for the topic board here for next week. Going to keep it going. If you didn't listen to the whole podcast tonight, I encourage you to go back and listen to it, because I had an action item. I wanted you all to do something, right? I really want you to do something. And I'm looking forward to seeing each and every one of you at our associate farms. Might as well say it. Okay, April 16th, we're going to have a seed swap. Andy, can you bring me some more pecans? Okay, for that. And then in July, we're going to have the Tribe Day on the 9th. So, Nancy, it's going to be a couple days drive for you, but you can stay at the apartment. You might have to double up with a couple of people, but it'll be nice. Or we could get you a hotel downtown. Okay, or the couch. All right, I'll see you guys. Thanks for coming, honey. Been a while. All right, we'll see everybody. See you tomorrow night. Good night.